It's a mixed day. It's a bit of a cloudy, bit of a sunny day together. It's really going to be hot out there. It's really, really going to be hot. You see the Tokyo signs all freshly renewed for the Olympics. Put that there. We should be able to sneak these down here. Can we do that? Too intrusive maybe. Okay guys, gang, good morning. Okay, this is going to be, I think, the last little printing session for a while, because actually I could have finished this thing last night, most of the edition, but for the benefit of having a stream content this morning, I saved one batch of 12, and we're going to do the final 3 impressions, the green, the Nakkan, the red seal, and the embossing. We'll do the last 3 impressions on that group of 12. So it's actually, the job is mostly finished. So. Still 2020. It's a trademark deal. I know there's a legal reason for this. When they postponed this, it turned out that the trademarks were all as they are, Tokyo 2020 or Tokyo 2020 Olympics, whatever. And I don't know the thing. Either somebody else had already trademarked 2021, or it was something to do with trademarks. So they decided, in the interests of let's keep the same feeling and the same mood, it's still the 2020 Olympics, just we're a little bit late getting started, or something like this. So these are the new banners, and all the new banners and the signs on the buses, everything still says Tokyo 2020. If you go to the website, it's the same thing. So I think it was a trademark issue, part of it. Trademark or pride or something, whatever. And we just have enough pigment left to do this. I was looking at this last night. Do I have enough left for tomorrow's 12 copies? I think so. I think so. We'll see. Don't tell anybody. Maybe the 12th copy will be a little bit light. Who knows? We'll see. So we'll take it nice and easy, nice and slowly today, because there's only 12 sheets in there. We'll do this slowly. I have show and tell. We've got a good one that arrived last night, actually. Something to be interesting to show. And also I have an update on the print that I showed you last week, the Hokusai one. We learned more about it. I could have learned it before the stream. It might have made more sense, but I learned a bit more about it. And the Hokusai print we showed you the other day, the one on the really super soft paper that Ishikawa-san was interested in too, that was made in 1892, it turns out. And we'll see it later. We'll look at it later on. So. Okay, what do I need? I need some barons here. What to do? This is a fairly, let's see. I've been choosing between these two for most of the work here. When it's been for the key block, of course. For the key block, where's the key block? Must be on the back of this one. For the key block, because the lines were fine, we used a really quite delicate baron. It's marked as an 8, but goku hosoi. So the coil is an 8-strand coil, very finely wound. But for some of the wider color areas, we're using a stronger baron. It looks pretty much the same on the outside, but it's stronger on the inside. And we had a whole bunch of people that didn't show up last time. A couple of the mods let me know they were off doing normal work instead of real life. But also the bot took a vacation last time, which I hadn't realized. And I'm told, I chatted with Nick, and I think the bot is back. He said he patched it up, so I think the bot is back, but it was off the other day. Took a holiday. So I have no idea what happened in the chat the other day. I wasn't able to read it later on. So the bot is back. Good, good, good. Everybody needs a break. Including bots. So it's a double command now. It seems that there's a rule on the length of comments here. Teal, it's a little bit dark, I think. It's a little bit dark. We can cut this. So we're going to be okay. 12 copies. We're going to cut this a bit. Okay, let's go. Let's roll. Let's roll. As I said, we have 12 copies here today, the last group of 12. For making this video this week, what I've done is I started with a deck of paper that I split into 5 groups of 12. So we just had 60 sheets here as 5 groups of 12. It's been a really easy job for me this week. So. Here's the before. We've come along well. We've got the blue base tone on this thing, the 2 yellows, the gray. And we're now going to add a green. And the green here is going completely on top of blue zones. There's no place that we're going to see the green by itself. So that green, what you're seeing is the same green. Where's that little test I did a moment ago here? When you saw the green on top of white paper, and then here on top of the blue. Is it emerald or closer to teal? I don't know. Emerald, I guess. Something like that. Somewhere between emerald and teal. I don't know. Here's the air conditioner going down. That was such a drag last night. I'm trying to record this on a video last night. That air conditioner is just going up and down, up and down. Well, that air conditioner noise is certainly audible on the video clips that I've been taking, absolutely. Here during the day there's traffic noise a little bit, maybe it's not so bad, but during the night when a lot of traffic noise is gone, the air conditioner really is disruptive. You'll see it when the video's ready in a few days. Sound in the background. Sugi-san is here this morning. She's just come. That's why I got the mask on, of course. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
She's working on right now. She's got two decks in the freezer, one at each time. Now sometimes when you do a print, you don't want to put another color right on top straight away. So she's playing two designs at the same time. One of them is the 6 print, the July.
July ですね。
July print. She's doing the July subscription print. And she's also working on the one that Jed called Flight of Fantasy, one of the Ukiyo Heroes prints. 100回すりかな何回すり ?100 回すり。20
これ
じゃなくてファンタジーの。
ファンタジーそうですね。結構ぼかしとか細かいのが多いです。
There's about 30 impressions on that one. Sugiさん、おはようとかいろんな人からメッセージ。
ありがとうございます。おはようございます。
でも外暑いみたいな。
そう暑いし、なんか昼間でもお天気になるって言ってましたね。それが昼間は
今もお天気でしょ。
ちょっと
青空も。
朝すごい曇ってた。線側うちの方。
Next up, of course, is going to fill in this corner here. So. It's paste. Now we've got three bowls here. We have actually the third bowl I'm not really using here. There's a third bowl at the moment here, which is water. I'm not using that right now. Sometimes if it gets a bit too dry here, we need a bit of water to touch it up. No, it's paste and pigment, that's all. Paste and pigment. And it's starting to get a bit too deep, that last one. The green's getting a bit deeper because we're picking up pigment here. You know, a block like this, the brush rubs pigment over 100% of this area. And then after we print it, we've picked up only the pigment from, you tell me, is it about 40%? And another 60% the pigment is still there. So the brush can now go back in there and pick up pigment from inside the ocean areas, plus whatever's locked inside the brush already. So because the last copy started to get a bit too deep, I'm going to lay off. I don't need to put pigment on this next one. We're going to pick up from the surrounding, pick up from the ocean, and pick up from the brush. And still plenty good rich green. Now if I did that again and again and again without putting more on, obviously bit by bit by bit the density would start to drop. I could probably do it once more. You want a flywheel effect. The bigger the brush, use the maximum size brush you can get away with. If it's too big, it starts to make mess everywhere, of course. You want the biggest brush you can get away with to act as a reservoir, which gives you a flywheel. It means as long as you're consistent with what you do, the pigment on the print doesn't change so much bit by bit. But if I was using a smaller brush here and replacing pigment every time, then you're going to get variation in the prints. The bigger the brush, the better. If there were no places carved out here, if this was a solid block of green, we would absolutely have to replace pigment every time because there's no reservoir down on the surface of the wood. I like this one. This is fun. Jed did a good job. I carved this one. It's fun to print it. This is the first time I've done an edition of this one. Back when we published it in 2014, I wasn't on the printing team. I carved that and moved on to the next one. So this is the first time for me to actually print this one. Got the Mystique gift as a birthday gift a couple weeks ago. It's the ideal set to start with. Good. Which should I get next? What are you talking about next? What do you mean next? You're out of action for 18 months. Don't even think about buying any more prints for 18 months. That Mystique set has 18 prints on it. And the people who collected it when they first got it, they got one first with the stand. Put it in the stand, enjoy it, read the story, get used to it. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The next month, a month later, the second one comes. Change them over, put the first one in the box. Look at the second one, enjoy the second one, drink it in. 18 months. You're out of the game for 18 months. Please. Which one should I get next? Oh! Does the wood itself ever change shape with time? Well, it's a piece of wood, so of course they wear out bit by bit by bit. It's cherry wood, which is pretty hard. We don't brutalize it very much. I'm only going to be printing this edition, quote, batch we're doing is 60 copies, which is a real advantage because just as the wood is starting to get soft and soggy and easily damaged, we quit and dry it and move on to something else. It's when you make 100, 200, x100 right here with the same thing, that's when the wood really starts to get soft and damaged. Don't tell people not to buy more. This gentleman has enough prints, really. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic about this. That print set it's I don't know, what's the word? It's food for a long time, you know. Oh, I'm not being sarcastic. You open it, page, turn the page. No, spend some time with it. Enjoy the things. Spend some time with it. It's the same thing about the plan we're making here for the gallery or exhibition space we're making, you know, going to be making here downstairs on the second floor. When Mokuhankan opens up again after the pandemic, you know, it's going to be sort of a shop, but it's not really going to be just a shop. We're going to try and put to real life the ideas that we talk about in this show and tell. And the concept is clear in my mind. It's I forget the Japanese name. I don't know. There's going to be only 10 objects on display at any given time. You come in the front door, pay your 10 cents or whatever you're going to pay to get in, and you're only going to see 10 prints. You go to a big museum, you go after room, hallway, you see all kinds of stuff, and you can remember nothing. Our little museum is going to have 10 prints on display only. It's going to rotate months by months by months. You can't take in too much stuff. It's never beached. Am I complaining too much? Whatever, trying to make the point. Okay, is that it? I think we were going to do 12, so we've got 12 sheets here, right? No, that's 10. There must be 2 more hidden in here. Where are they? Oh, they're in the back. Hey. I thought it was done. 2 more sheets here. 2 more. That's the other question. Somebody's mentioning here about how long it takes the people who make things to make them as opposed to the people who consume them to consume them. Does it make a difference? You know, the baker spends 6 hours during the night making X amount of bread and cookies. The people eat the bread and cookies. Do they take less time than it took for him to make them? If it takes me a month to make a print and somebody looks at it, do they have to look at it for a month? Or can they look at it for 5 minutes? Does it make any difference? I don't know if it's a difference or not. We did talk about that before, you know, there's an episode that will always stay with me, you know, when I had the Poet series. The exhibition is there, and I always exhibited the 10 prints that I had made the previous year, and then in the back of the room we had the other 80 copies or 90 copies or whatever. So the exhibition itself was basically 10 prints. It's kind of like the concept I described for our gallery coming up downstairs here. And I'd stand there in the gallery back then, this is in the 1990s, or I'd stand there in the gallery, people come in the door and I would nod and they would nod, and then they walk over to the wall and they start looking at the 10 prints. And people would stand and look, or whatever, and just, there's one episode that I can never forget. A really, really nice lady, I shouldn't tell this story, she's a really nice lady. She walked over there, looked at the first one for X seconds, moved to the second one for X seconds, and her feet she very slowly, her feet actually didn't stop moving as she looked at these 10 prints. So it took her maybe, I don't know, 3-4 minutes or something to slowly move down this, read the poetry, see the prints, you know. And she came over to me after that. So she's been here, only been in the room like 3 minutes. She saw the prints, came over to me, and she started to gush. Oh my God, these are glorious, these are wonderful. I can't believe what a wonderful job you've done, blah, 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 blah. And I'm a good boy, so I did the right thing. I said, well, thank you very much, I'm glad you enjoyed it, thank you very much, thank you very much. But inside my head, I'm screaming, lady, that took me a year. It took me a year of carving this and carving that and figuring out this and figuring out that and carving this. It took me a year of full work. You looked at it in 3 minutes and you're saying glorious, glorious, wonderful, 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 wonderful. What did you see in there? Are you such a good connoisseur that you can actually see in 3 minutes all the stuff that I did in there in 1 year? I didn't say this, of course. I just said thank you, thank you, thank you. And she walks out, and I'm happy, she's happy, everybody's happy, but whatever. I mean, I'm certainly overthinking this. You don't need, you know, Beethoven wrote a symphony and it took him a few months, whatever. We sit there for 55 minutes and listen to it. It's okay. We enjoy the 55 minutes. We don't have to sit there for 3 months because it took him 3 months to write it. I get it. The two things are not equatable. But there's something in there. There's something in there. Okay, there's our 12 copies of this. Let's move on to the next color. They were stacked heads and tails, heads and tails. They're now just going to go straight back. And at the moment, I'm just going to put this aside. If we were intending to use a different color or something on this block, then at this point, before it really soaks in, we would wash this block carefully, try to get as much of the green off. We will never, our intention is never to change colors here. So I'm going to leave this right now. It'll just dry as it is. There's only the paste and pigment. We didn't use any Nikawa glue or something. If we had used strong glue, we would need to wash this now while it's still wet. But it doesn't matter. The one I used yesterday, in fact, the one I used last night, which we're going to use again now, I just left it last night to dry, and we're going to re-moisten it, pick it up now as we go. The only time you really need to wash them is if you've used a real stiff, strong glue or something, and you don't want that glue to be stuck in all the little parts of the block. So. Okay, now the next one is a little bit different here. We are certainly not going to need this water, and we are not going to need the paste. So again, recharging from what happened last night. We just dried it off, just let it dry last night. That block is a bit too dry though. I should have soaked this for a bit first. Okay, what we're doing with this one, this is simply, it's a real creamy, it's the pigment powder. We can't mix this with water. We mixed it first with a bit of alcohol, just your normal, your normal alcohol that you get from the pharmacy, whatever. This is, Suki-san, これは何 90% ですか 99%? 50?
いや結構75か76点いくつとか入ってますね、アルコール分は。76点いくつのプラス、あれ私アルコールどっか違う。
あ、そう、76から81まで。そう。Okay, it's about an 80% mix. It says on the side here, somewhere from, this is funny, it says 76.9 to 81.4. It's in there, somewhere in that range, no idea. So it's just ethanol, just they're rubbing alcohol, whatever. And putting a few drops of that into the dry pigment, it's a surfactant, and it allows the water to, allows the stuff to carry it. It doesn't dissolve in the water. The particles are not dissolved chemically. They're just suspended inside the water. But here, this is not wet. I couldn't pour this. Can we see? This isn't going to pour. It might move there. It's not going to pour. It's a cream. And this is a nice thick cream, way thicker than the one I just used. The one I just used, if I had tipped it over, it would pour out on the floor. But this one now, I want thicker and denser. It's cream. Is it isopropyl? I don't know. It says here ethanol. Ethanol alcohol. Which to me means ethanol, but I don't know actually what's inside it. I'm sorry. Here's if you're really curious, here it is. See, I can't read it. It's too small for me. But there's our formula. C2H something. No idea. Anyway, there it is. It says ethanol, and there's your formula, and that's the percentage, whatever. I've no idea what the IP means. No idea. Industrial proof or something. No idea. We don't need permission to buy this. We just go to the drugstore, take it off the shelf. Okay, I'm going to be quiet for a minute here because I got to get this right. So just let me shut up for a minute, or make me shut up for a minute. And I might actually, my head might get in the way because I really want to see what's going on here. Let me just be quiet for a minute. Dave, get this right. somebody's shouting at me. Say hello to my mother. Is my mother here? Just right now, I got to watch this carefully. So if I go too slow on this, it's going to dry out and they're not going to work. So just right now, just give me a couple of minutes here. Hi, Mom. See, お母さん入ってますが、僕ちょっと忙しいですから。
そうか。
But he's shouting at me, say hello to your mother. So. All right, wait a minute. Okay, there's 6 copies. It's really critical, the dryness. It's actually a tiny bit too dry here, so just a second. It's actually a tiny bit dry. Okay, give me 5. Moisten the paper. The paper's a tiny bit too dry. Give me 5. Paper's a tiny bit too dry. Wood's a tiny bit too dry. Okay, give me 5. Okay, Mom. What's up? Is it okay? How's your... My mom had the second vaccine the other day, so I guess the fact that she's here means she's back to normal. Are you okay, Mom? How was the second shot? Strong or... My second shot is 10 days from now. July the 2nd, I get mine. Tiny bit on the dry side. You can see it. The seal is there. It's okay. But there's a bit of a cloudiness in the impression. It should be a bit deeper and richer. Here she is. Not bad. My arm hurt a bit. Good. So you're okay. You're clear now. So what's the rule? You're back in society and seeing people, or... I don't know the rules over there in Canada. We're not sure what to do here. You know, as of 10 days from now, I will be vaccinated, but nobody else is, so I don't know. I'm not really going to change my behavior at all. We're going to keep masks, of course, you know. I'm still going to keep away from restaurants because they're all full of young people and they're not vaccinated, so. So maybe no stream on the 3rd. We'll talk about that when we get closer. So my vaccination is scheduled for Friday the 2nd, so probably we'll do the same thing. We'll book off the 3rd. Last time I was totally okay, but lots of people are telling me second time is worse, so I don't know. No idea. Okay, let's check the paper. I think we're okay here. Okay, back at it. Yes, nice richer impression. it was a tad too dry. And the final strokes here, so soft. She's making noise, but if you can hear those last brush strokes, if you can hear them, you're pressing too hard. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Here, now brush it out first normally, lightly, up, down, and then final strokes, so soft. If you can hear it, you're pressing too hard. How's our time? We're okay. Lots of time. In fact, I'm early now. Two copies left. These are the last colors on this print. 2 copies. Okay, those are the last colors on this print. Next up is the embossing. There's a difference here. We see what I'm doing here. That last green color I did, it was a wide area. It was, slurpy, messy. There was pigment. You saw it. I held up the block and it was wet and shiny. And I could chat and stop and chat and throw some water on and stop and chat. An impression like this, it's absolutely critical. I just had to go 1, 2, 3, timing. A slight change in the way the block dries or the pigment and you're out of luck, you're done. And for the beginner, when I'm trying this 40 years ago, you get your block ready and you do this and you do this and you try and it's not right and you sit and you look at it, you think about it, the block dries, you're completely, totally out of luck. It's really, really difficult for the beginners the first time. Okay, that's the color printing done. You know what comes next. And for the first time here, not that one, this one. For the first time here in a long, long time, it's buru. It's carved by David and printed by David. We'll look at it after we do. Hey, Sugi-san. 珍しい。ブルブル。
これいつの？あ、これあれじゃん。
だから初めてです。
ああ、そっか。
そう、初めてです。
くっつけてるやつじゃなくて、フリースに。
だからそうキャメにお願いしたんですね。
ああ、本当。
で僕はお願いしたことはホリブル、スリブル、ブルブルね。キャメがいやノー。ちょっと良くない。
おかしいから。
おかしいです。そう。
ああ、それがいいかもね。ホリスリ。
So in the old days, when I made my old prints, before we hired people, everything was carved and printed by Dave. I put my Baron's seal on it and I signed it. But once we opened Mocha Hong Kong, it's of course different stuff. You've seen this many, many times. Carved by somebody, printed by somebody, blah, 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 blah. The one I did last week downstairs, carved by Kawasaki, printed by Kubota. Today's Cameron's got it. Cameron's here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, they arrived. They're just in time. Today is the day. And as we said, I think I asked Cameron, do me a buru 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 or something, but Cameron did it the right way. He put, it says hori.suri, carving and printing, and then he's got my full name, Buru Davido. There we have it. And this is unusual. This is the first portraits print going out of here with my own name for carving and printing. So. Full of all. That's it, When I was a kid in school, you can imagine the different names and stuff, whatever. We get pretty used to that and just whatever. Having a name like Bull in school times was it could have gone either way, but we had enough confidence, me and my other family members, whatever. If people think it's a special name, you can think it's a special name, whatever, but whatever. Okay, let's do this. I'm really early now. This is only 8:50. Courtney's got a good question. And we've had this just last month. The subscription print number 6. The key block was carved by Kawasaki-san. The color blocks... No, 6, 7. Wait, 6. This is 7. 6. The key block was carved by Kawasaki-san. I don't remember what's happened here. It was 3. Kawasaki-san carved the key block, and Taran-san did a couple of the color blocks, not all of them. She did a couple. I didn't remember. I don't even remember who did what. We had a real mix of it, but there's no room on the print for 3 different carvers' names. So what we did was, on print number 6 for this month, we put carver Kawasaki. She did the key block, so she gets the credit for that, and my name and Taran's name are not on it. And then the printers got their name. But on the packaging that we sent to people, this is printed stuff, there's lots of room. Over there, the Omi people put everybody's names on it. So I think it says carving Kawasaki and Taran and David, I don't even remember. And then it's got the printers' names. So the key block person is the one who is considered the key for that. And if we were doing this really the old-fashioned way, Taran would never get his name on these things at all, because he's still sort of technically an apprentice, and his name would never be on anything. It would be the name of the workshop. The Asuka Sensei's name would be on it. But there's no reason to be sort of silly like that. So Did Dave finish carving the tiger? I did not indeed finish carving the tiger, and that's where I'm going to be at the next stream. This is Monday. The next stream will be Thursday morning for me, Wednesday for you, and it's going to be tiger. Back to the tiger, and I am now under the gun. So here we are. I guess we can read it, whatever. Try and find the light, the angle. Anyway, it's there. It's carving, printing, Bull David. That goes on the side. And now you can see, of course, this is the way the embossing should be done. On the moist paper, it's the last step. Normally when you see me doing this, I've got that blue cloth and I'm dampening the paper. This is the normal way, the last impression. And it's got to be the last. If we do it partway through and then moisten the paper, rub it with the brush, that tends to weaken the embossment. The water gets in there, the paper that's been pressed spreads out a bit. So we do it as the last step, and bang, these will be dried in a few minutes. So we don't need the damp cloth. The paper is damp already. The paper is still damp from the normal printing process. The only reason I use that blue cloth is because I'm working with dry paper when the printers send it off to me. This is the normal way to do it. Is that our vegetable delivery truck downstairs? What's going on down there? It's felt. It's a felt pad. We've got a thick felt pad. They get kind of dirty, so we just replace it. And a bit of water on the bench. It's a felt pad. Sugu-san has something a bit more better. She's got a little special one she's built to put the oil on it. They get soaked with the oil. It's not soaked, but it's got the camellia oil. In the old days, a piece of cotton rag, it's called wata, baren wata. The name for this is baren wata, the barren rag, the barren cloth. Last one. And felt actually is not so good. I know the true old professional printers would never use felt. It what's the word? Stuff comes off it. With felt, bits and pieces come off, and there's a danger of that getting back into your print. So they would use cotton, a cotton rag, an old piece of clothing, or an old, tenugui or something. And when it gets too ratty, just toss it out and use another one. There we go. This is from our portrait series of subscription prints. It's number 2 in the portrait set. I'm told it represents a character called Ganon. Ganon. There we go. This is what they're like. You've seen me do this with Kubota-san's prints to show. Here's Dave. いつも久保田さんのものを開きますが、いやすごいね、みんな全く同じ色ですねとか、デイビッドもなんとかできますが、How's mine? Do I pass the same test? Remember, I show you the Kubota prints and I say they're all exactly the same color, right? Dave's prints, I guess. Are they all exactly the same color? I don't know. Close enough. Close enough. They're pretty good. John's got it. I'm not a machine, but whatever. 久保田さんのじゃないですよ. The other thing is the speed. Oh my God! You gotta just. The guy is just. So the stack is a lot smaller. Okay, wait a minute. 12 copies. That's the first 12. Second 12. Second 12. So it's a respectable stack. It's okay. It's a respectable stack. Oops, upside down. Sorry. They're heads and tails. 60 copies. And I've already partway along. Where am I? Oh, I put it inside here. Chattomate. I cut the corner off one of them. Here we are. I cut the corner because I didn't want that Dave guy to see this and think I was thinking it was a real print, you know. Now you can tell. Why did Dave cut the corner of this one? Anybody can tell this. What's wrong with this one? Why did Dave cut the corner? Oh, you can see it. Look. It was a brush. When I did the embossing, I started with this brush and realized really quickly that this wasn't going to work, that it gummed up. The other brush, I got to be careful, these things are shedding red here. The other brush, this was too tight, too thick, and too coarse. This one is delicate and soft and has really been worked well on the shark skin. And when I was doing this one, it was scratch, 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 and that's the result I got. This one was sa, 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 sa. So it's your tools. So I looked at this one, crap, I'm not going to bat 1,000 on this batch. Of course, we can't send this out. So instantly I went to the bench, changed tools, came back, and went on from there. But yeah, instantly cut the corner. So there we have it. Okay, let's move on. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. We're out of work here, but that's okay because I have more stuff than I can possibly show you for show and tell. But I really want to get rid of some of this crap. That vermilion pigment is dangerous. It gets everywhere. You look at your hands and you realize there's vermilion on them. It gets everywhere. Okay, couple of things. Before we look at today's show and tell, I want to recap just for a moment. Remember the print I showed you a couple of days ago? I've learned a bit more about it. Something I should have recognized right at the front and didn't. And then something I learned after I read a bit more about it. I showed you this a few days ago. I said, what did I say? I'm on record as whatever I said. I said it was a Taisho or perhaps Meiji era reproduction. And I thought, and I might have said this, it's this ferry boat, and it probably came from the series he did about both sides of the Sumida River, Sumida-gawa Ryogan Ichiran. I was wrong. It's from the big famous 36 Views of Fuji series, which actually has 46, the same series with the Great Wave. It's a view of Ryogoku Bridge at sunrise, and there's supposed to be a pink glow in the sky, which is faded here. And no, it's not an original. It turns out that some publisher in Meiji 25, let me pop the link in here, you can look at this for yourself. This is not a link, it's some Japanese. This is the Japanese title of this album that was made in 1892, Meiji 25. It's a Zen Hokusai Fuji, I don't know the pronunciation, something K, not Fuge, Katsuke, I don't know. Series of views of Mount Fuji. And they took 12 of the prints from the series and they made them into a folding album. And the prints were folded and they had a border line. If you follow that Japanese I just typed in there, and look at the images, you'll see. So this is a loose sheet from that same publisher. So they must have also published them at the same time as single sheets, not just as an album. Hokusai's dead by now, but it wouldn't matter anyway. There's no copyright back in the days. So that's what this is. It turns out that this is from 1892, which gives us, you do the math, what is it, 130 years old. So I'm very, very happy to get this. Very, very happy. It's not a Hokusai original, of course. But if it had been, I wouldn't have been able to buy it. The album does come up on auctions here now and then. I had seen it, but I hadn't connected the two things. The album might go for $400-500, somewhere around there, if it was in good condition. Okay, anyway, put that aside. That's just to retouch up what we did the other day. Today we have a new item. And this is a new item, but we've had other items from the same series before. If somebody can help me here, can somebody go over to the Mokuhankan collection and look up something called Kabuki 18ban, Kabuki 18. If you go to the, print sets in the collection. This is today another group of prints from the same concept. It's the same theme, the Kabuki 18ban. Hide the address? No, it's a dealer. It's a book dealer. He doesn't care. It's a book dealer. Okay, Cameron's got it. Cameron, actually, in the collection, there are 3 separate sets of Kabuki 18ban. There's a big set, a match label set, and a Senjafura set. And we are now going to have a 4th Kabuki 18ban. None of that green tape. Green tape is for sissies. Yeah, I think all 3. Thank you, Cameron. Okay, what we have here today, this is nowhere near as old as the item we just looked at. This one is Showa 16, which translates as, I can remember that easy because my birthday is Showa 26, which was 1951. So this is Showa 16, which means this is 1941. Japan is at war with China, and in a few months after this was published, they're about to be at war with pretty much everybody else. And printmaking and a lot of things came to a stop. This is 1941, end of an era. I want to try and reuse this stuff as much as I can, so whatever. Sorry for this. Let's see. Get rid of the plastic. Oh, give me a break. They really want to be careful. They really want to be careful. Any damage, and you can claim it back from the auction, so whatever. They're just trying to make sure. I packed it well. I get it. So it's okay, I get it. Cameron, by the way, Cameron's here. Did you see the Instagram post? Cameron made an Instagram post the other day showing our latest FedEx box. I took a quick snapshot of the FedEx box. Cameron posted it. And somebody wrote a comment on the Instagram page that just cracked me up. I forget the exact wording. It's over there right now. I gotta go and look this up. This cracked me up on the Instagram page. It's, where is it? I showed a picture of the box, and the person says, only the Japanese could pack that box so efficiently. I love it. Only the Japanese. Oh, come on, let's get to the prints. Jesus. Okay, sorry gang, excuse me. I knew it would be packed well, but... What's that? Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. Here we go. This layer should be easier. It's 5 minutes to show and tell. Okay. We made it. We're inside. Let's go get a coffee break. Okay. Some of this I can read, and some of this I can't read. And this is Kabuki. Kabuki Ju Hachiban. This is your main theme. The famous 18 plays of Kabuki. It's a set of plays that was collected or put together by the Danjuro clan. And they're a group of plays that were really, they're what they call aragoto style, rough, 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 rough. This, I don't understand why this here, it seems to read chuko. Sugi-san, chuko. I don't know the meaning. Honorable or
正しいってただ
そう
中高だから広重の広ってこと
No,
ともどういう
ちょっと待って、中にも印刷ありますから。It's printed inside. Hang on a sec. I want to find out from here what this is. ちょっと待って。じゃあちょっと後で一番下にあるかもしれないですから。Okay, it's printed inside again. I'll have to ask her. I don't know why this is here. It's Kabuki Juhachiban, and this is Hasegawa. It's supposed to say Hasegawa Sadanobu, but there's no way. I have no idea how to read that. Absolutely no idea how to read it. And we have a nice little presentation here. These are woodblock prints. Look at this. Woo! Furniture. I didn't know this was in there. The guy didn't even show a picture of this on the auction. Look at this. Woo, woo, woo. There's good news and bad news. It's a set of Kabuki Juhachiban, but it's a broken set. The auction clearly said, I'm sorry, there aren't 18, there are only 16 prints inside here. And we have our table of contents here. Again, it's the same kanji, I don't know what this means here. Chuko Kabuki Juhachiban. この漢字ですね。これ。And we have a table.
中高の高校、親孝行の高か。はい。どういう意味なんだろう。
どういう意味なんだろう。そう。
中高。正すだから。
And here we go. Let's get into the prints. Now these are a bit different. This is 1941. This is not Edo Ukiyo. This is Hasegawa Sadanobu, who is I'm going to be quoted here. I'm going to be careful. I think he's a hack. He's the third in his line using the same name, and we saw some of his work before. Remember that magazine that had the colored woodblock prints on the front cover? He's the guy who did those. He just did a stream of hack work. Someone says beautiful. Well, yeah, as long as you stand back and you squint. They're beautifully made prints. These are made by the Uchida company on Sadanobu's, Hasegawa's designs. But when we get close, let's have a look at this. Let's sort of see how far we can zoom in. It's nicely, quote, nicely drawn, quote, nicely printed, quote. But It's cold, completely lifeless. I mean, oh, well, look at this. Aha. Aha. Well, somebody's bull roast people. This guy is a hack. I'm sorry. There's just nothing else to say. He's dead. I don't need to be nice to him. This is the utter end of ukiyo-e. This is what it ended up as. This is 1941. It's a woodblock print made by Uchida. The quality is fine, but there's just no guts or heart or anything at all left inside this. And when we've collected these prints, we'll have these prints. It's part of the story. And they're supposed to be rough aragoto, nantoka nantoka. And they're really nicely made. Look at this mountain. I mean, just everything about it is okay. It's all nice. But like, why did we bother? It's all woodblock prints. Everything you see here is done just the same way. Some of this stuff, I like to think that Paul Jacquelet might have seen some of these, because a lot of this idea is, we see the same color blending here that we see in Paul Jacquelet's work. Paul Jacquelet, this was his trademark. See the darker blue on lighter blue, right next to a darker red on lighter red. So this guy's been watching Jacquelet, or Jacquelet's been watching him, or it's just part of a standard, I don't know. They are garish. This is Kabuki. This is supposed to be garish stuff, so don't can them for that. 色紙ですね、そう。制作は綺麗ですが、絵師は、oh my god。例えば、これ見てください。彼女の顔とか。
顔変。
変。That's the first word she says. Her word is 変。Strange.
これ、すったやつですか？
もうすりですよ。もちろん色紙に貼ってありますよ。そう。They're all on boards. They've been pasted down onto boards, and I am not going to do anything with them. They're going to just live as they are.
顔がいつの何年前の？
今昭和16年です。
昭和16年。
そう、昭和16年。長谷川貞信です。明治時代からの家族ですが、もう3番ですが。もうだから from my point of view, cynical point of view, this guy was born into an artist's family. Maybe Hasanobu number 1, number 2, number 3. Maybe the first guy's had talent, and this guy's the grandson, and like, you're gonna be the next in line whether you like it or not. And he was the next in line whether he liked it or not. And he trained and trained and trained, but this is the result. The technique is fantastic. It's so beautifully made. This is the last gasp. This is 1941. This is the last gasp. The production is gorgeous. He's managed to suck all the life out of what is the most dramatic, vivid, exciting series of kabuki prints in X hundred years of history, and he's managed to suck the life out of the whole thing. So, and here we are. Actually, we got his name on. So, Sandai Sadanobu. This is his signature. Third generation Sadanobu. This is Hasegawa Sadanobu. These are all on stage, actually. These are accurately depicted, and what you're seeing is what the persons in the theater would see. This is a Kabuki play. This is not supposed to be taken out in real life. This is an actual, it's like a photograph of a theater scene. These people are in the theater on stage, and that's what you see. If you're sitting in the audience, you would see these two guys here. There'd be a painted backdrop, and there would be a fake room in the back. This is an actual stage setting. So this is not trying to depict anything else. That one I showed you just a minute ago with outside. We know we're not outside. We are on a stage. The stage goes back that far. There's a painted backdrop, and maybe the guys in the back were wibbling it, so it looked like moving sea. This is a stage setting. We are clearly looking at a stage setting. So don't think about this as a real thing. That is a painted backdrop of a castle, and this is a fake boat standing on the stage, and we know that. And the scenes, of course, are all classic scenes from those 18 plays. I don't remember them all. I remember some of them. They're not labeled or named here, so I'm not about to give you a rundown on what we're seeing as far as Kabuki goes. Again, this is a stage. Maybe the stage went this far and the rest is painted, or maybe the stage went that far and the rest behind it is painted. I don't know. No idea. It doesn't much matter. Remember, this is Kabuki. This is not a woman. This is a male actor as a woman. Yeah, there's kids in Kabuki all the time. Even nowadays, they're using kids in Kabuki, and they did back then. Oh, absolutely. As far as I understand it, the kids who appear on the stage these days are actually in the Kabuki families. They're being trained. They're getting used to their future job. I thought I put that. I did. I thought put that. Do they still have male Kabuki actors? Yes, of course. Kabuki still does this way. Absolutely, Kabuki is that way. It's one of the main core things of Kabuki. Those men are so good at that, and are so proud of being so good at this, and train so carefully. And there's nobody, not one person in this entire society, women included, who thinks that Kabuki should change and let women do that. There's not one person who feels that this is something wrong or bad. Let me just check. Sugu-san, 今歌舞伎ですね、女型というものがありますね。
ありますね。
じゃあ現代のフィーリングはじゃあやっぱり女性そのままやった方がいいんじゃないですか。
ああ。
でだから海外の国に女性がこの舞台に入っていけないとダメでしょ。
ありますね。
だって差別ですからとか。じゃあこれからの歌舞伎は男性女性2人とも。考えないでしょ。この国にそこまで考える人いますか。
あんま考えたことないね。
でしょ。だからすぐさも女性でしょ。現代の女性、あれは悪いね、と僕はその考えないんですが、日本人は
そんな考えないけど悪いねって。
Whatever. I mean, she's never thought of this. She's saying like, why did David talk to me about this? She would never have come up with the idea that it's discrimination that women aren't allowed to do this. あの女方はすごい素晴らしい、考えられない、女性ができないものです。
あとそうバンドを女方をやらせたらすごいいいっていうバンド玉三郎さんとかやっぱり女の 人にはない色気を男の人だから多分演じられるっていうこと。
Look, so what she's trying to say, the guy who's most famous for this right now, Thomas Saburo, his wife died, whatever. For the women, look at him, and every woman in this country is in love with this guy. And he gets up on stage, and he's a woman. And every woman in this country, この日本に住んでる女性たちがあの人を見ると、とぎますよ。So, without exception, every single woman in this entire country is in love with that man. The idea that he should not be allowed to do this and women should act this way, just whatever. No.
そうだね、そう言われ
It
る。
would be a Japanese pride that some Japanese men, some actors are so able to do something like that.
そう言われるとあんま考えて
And so her gesture, she put her hands up to her chest and sort of melted. And this guy puts kimono on and makeup, and he's a woman, you know. And she said the same thing. It's much more erotic, much sexier than any woman could be.
絶対私より玉三郎さんの方が色っぽいと思う。
There you are. The sexiest man in the country. A tragic story, though. Tragic story. His wife died from cancer some years ago. My God, there's no person in this country that didn't stop crying. It's not drag. Somebody's typing the sexiest man in the country makes a living in drag. This isn't drag. I know I'm not the best guy to ask because I don't know much about that part of culture over there, but it's not cross-dressing, it's not drag, it's acting. There's some, the idea about anybody acting anything, a person playing Hamlet or whatever, the idea is that he inhabits that character so well that we sit there in the audience and we know we are looking at Hamlet without question. And it's this kind of thing. So it's not just drag a guy saying, hey, let me put a funny dress on and play like this. It's a bit different, I think. It's a bit different. Again, I'm not the best person to talk to. I've never been to a Kabuki theater in my life, so I'm not the guy to ask. I'm just describing things that I haven't seen and know about. I have a bit of experience of this. There was a man that lives near here. I haven't seen him now since before the pandemic. There was a gentleman, he lives near here. He's older than me. He's a bit older than me, maybe 75 or something now. And we really enjoyed it. He used to drop by in the shop every few months because he had a collection of old books and stuff. He liked to show us the books. He knew we were interested in that sort of thing. And he trained right from a child age, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. He trained as a dancer, buyo. Not specifically anything that was kabuki, but he trained dancing as women's parts. So this guy, he'd be in our shop chatting with us, and I can tell you the story, but without seeing it. And he told us one day about his training when he was, 6 years old or whatever. And there's a guy, he's on his way back from playing tennis in the park. He's got a tennis racket bag over his shoulder. He puts it down. And we said, you train as a dancer? He says, yeah, like this. And he puts his tennis racket down. He's got a sweaty hairband on. He's got like a tracksuit, whatever. And he stood back from us a bit. And he made some gestures with his hand. I can't do this, I'm just whatever. He made some gestures with his hand. And he moved. And then he did something with his neck. And he looked a certain way. And we were just like, there's a woman in the room here, a really sort of dancing, sexy woman. And this guy's standing there in his tennis tracksuit. And it was just the gestures of his hand and the way he turned his head and stuff like this. And he danced for us for like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And that room is just silent. Watching this guy in this sweaty tracksuit who's just thrown his tennis racket on the floor. And oh my God. So there is a thing here. These people are so good at inhabiting this. So I've seen it. And I just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you know. And that's what this whole thing is about. I've never been to Kabuki, but that's why this thing is so intense and why the history is there and why the people who are crazy about it are really crazy about it. Because these people on the stage have trained so well and so carefully. They are so good at this. You sit there in the audience absolutely transfixed by this. And that's sort of one reason why, to me, these little pictures are a little bit disappointing to me, because maybe if you know the story, maybe if you've been there, maybe if you've done this, you know the way that he is twirling this umbrella just a little bit of a certain way to attract the attention of these girls. I don't know. When you know the story, this is your shortcut to being there again. For someone like me who doesn't know this story, these prints, I think, look pretty cold and dry and lifeless. But I'm not the target audience for this. Absolutely not the target audience. So. I've avoided going to Kabuki. I've been here now, whatever, nearly getting on for 40 years, and I've never been there. One of our staff members here, Audrey-san, she is nuts, and I mean nuts to the point of being just like nuts about Kabuki. She spends every cent she gets on tickets. There was once, a couple of years ago before the pandemic, she was trying to get tickets to something that was the hottest ticket in town, and she had us all. She had me and Aoyama-san, and I forget, Cameron was involved, I don't know. She had us all on computers logged into this website trying to get this hot ticket. And, So absolutely, they're shorthand for people that know the theater, that know the plays, that know the people. They're like, whatever, souvenir photographs. So, I think actually, now somebody's brought up a really good point here. Someone's brought up a really funny point. Don't forget, what you're seeing here is two dudes in a horse costume. This is a picture taken from the stage. That's not a real horse. This is two dudes dressed up as a horse. So what do you do when you're making a woodblock print about this? Do you make it look like a horse? No. Look, there's the legs. This is a guy standing there, and here's another guy. We're looking at three men standing here. So don't complain about how badly he drew the horse. This is two dudes and a horse. So as I said, for people who wanted to go to the Kabuki play, these are probably quite extremely accurate representations of what you saw on the stage. So don't get confused about what's happening here. This is not a tree. This is a fake tree. Actually, I'm enjoying these. These are fun, actually. I'm fun. These are fun. It'll be great to put these on the exhibition and talk about these stories, This is fun. I'm glad I bought this. It's okay. He's not an artist I have respect for, but this is okay. Look at this. Here we have. Finally, we have some real character. This guy could do men, but he couldn't do women. Well, maybe what he had trouble with, it's of course the men posing as women. This artist seems to have had some trouble with that. He can actually do males. He can do men. But what he was having trouble doing the men as women. And in fact, you can see it. Actually, the jaw's too big. I get it. Okay, I can see what this is. So, oh yeah, and there we are at the bottom of it. We've now come to the label, and there we have it. And there it is. It's Showa 16, the third month, the third day, and it is the Uchida company. Uchida in Kyoto. I'm still not sure why they use those two characters at the front of this. I think, what does it mean? I don't know, chuko, loyalty and fealty or something. It's a kind of word I don't understand very well. So it's kind of the loyal Kabuki Ju Hachiban. There we have it. Yeah, chuko, it's here. If Konda's looking for the characters, it's here. It's right to left. Chuko, kabu. Oh, they've missed the key. They ran out of room. It's a mistype. It says chuko, kabu, ju hachiban. There should be kabuki. It's on the front cover, kabuki. They've missed it here. They've screwed up, or they ran out of room, or something like that. I don't know. A mistype. So I guess, yeah, is that the deal, Artelino? Loyalty and filial piety. So I guess it makes sense. Chu, ko, kabuki, ju, hachiban. Maybe then, David's just simply, this is the real full title that I have not been all that aware of. So I guess so. In that case, it makes sense. We're learning every day here. Learn something every day. Good catch. Okay, thank you very much. What this would have cost in 1941, I'm sorry, I haven't the slightest idea. We will eventually someday find out. You know those magazines we buy that have the ads and stuff in the back? We will see an ad in the back of one of those magazines at some point for this set of prints. It would have been advertised probably quite widely. Okay, we have run a little bit too long. Sorry about that. Here we are. Okay, today's Monday. The schedule coming up. I have now finished my printing job. Our young lady who has been in Hong Kong for a few months, we have learned she is arriving back in Japan next Tuesday, means tomorrow. She's coming back to Japan tomorrow. She can't come here. She's going to be isolated in her home for 2 weeks, not leaving the room for 2 weeks. We're going to help her take food and stuff, whatever, over there. Rei-chan, 明日だよ。そうだね。そう。we got to get 花とかなんか用意しないと無理でしょ。そう。2週間後かな。So Rei-chan's coming back, and she will take over the printing of the seventh month print from me. So I am going back downstairs as of tonight, and I'll be a carver. So the next stream from us will be Thursday morning Tokyo time, Wednesday night for most of you, and we're going to get busy wrestling a tiger. Thanks again. I am out of here. See you next week. I've enjoyed this. It's been a fun little stream for me today. Too much bubble wrap, but whatever. Can't be helped. Sugi-san, thank you very much. I can't. She's printing. I can't turn the computer on. Thanks, Mabel. Okay, let's put the outside up.
See you next time.
Let's put the outside up for a few seconds here. What are we going to see? That umbrella is not for the rain. That umbrella is for the sun. It is going to be a very hot day out there today. Monday morning, eh? Okay, guys, signing off for good now. Thanks very much. See you in a few days. Bye for now.